Hello. Hello. Hi YouTube. Hi Twitch. In just a few minutes, I will start reading. Oh, Game Changers by Rachel Reid. Actually, on my way to work, I started reading the book. I think I got to chapter 3, but for the sake of the stream and video, I'll be starting from the top and I will do my best to provide a manly voice. Oh, Dead. There is no way I'm gonna be able to do that. But, uh, anyway, where's my mic? I think I locked it. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. Mic, test mic. Okay, it's good. Okay. My bonfire is good, I think. Okay. Lock the volume. Let me check if I'm actually streaming. Uh-huh. Okay, let me just check. I'm streaming right now. I'll actually try to finish the entire book in this one stream. I will try to do it. But if I can't do it, then never mind. But I'll try to finish it. Now, what's going to be difficult here is for people who want to read along, it's not going to be possible. Because it's not going to be possible to read along because I have an ebook version and I don't think it's ethical to screen share the book. So, if you're tuning into the stream, I'll be starting with reading the book in just a few seconds. Let me just prep my ebook reader and then we will start. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so on my way to work. I was reading the first 3 chapters of this book. I couldn't help but I was just smiling. And thank God I didn't have there weren't a lot of people on the train. Uh, but damn, the writing I think is pretty solid. There weren't a lot of weak points. I'd say yeah, there weren't a lot of weak points, although I don't really understand the hockey parts pretty much. Because of course, I don't really watch hockey, but you know, after watching Heated Rivalry, I kind of have a little bit of an understanding about the exercise and a little bit of the terms that they use. I don't know what a hat trick is, but okay. I'll just shut up and okay, let me get my ebook reader. I will try to finish the entire book in this stream, okay? And I have my liquids ready. My liquids are ready. I will be drinking a lot of water. Okay. Let's see. Game changers? Oh! Okay. Oh my god, it has been 4 minutes, girl. Okay. Wait. Are there 7? Oh god. According to this ebook, there are 662 pages. Oh, I don't think I can finish it. I don't think I can finish it. But you know what? Okay. Well, first things first, I have a gay voice, okay? Do not expect a lot of things. I cannot, I cannot do a Francois voice, okay? Like, Let me try. Ahem. 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 Hello. Oh, oh, it kind of works, no? Kind of works. Okay. Okay, let me just double check the stream if everything is good audio-wise, and then I'll start reading. Okay, let's do this. Mic test. Is my bonfire audible? Okay, okay, it's good, it's good. Let's start, bitch. Ooh, okay, okay. Let's start with the. She have a dedication. Okay. Damn, I cannot be doing that. Okay. Dedication. This book is for everyone who encouraged me to try to publish this story, and especially to Matt, who supports me wholeheartedly in all things. And also to the random gap model who was my physical reference for Kip. Gag. Mother. Okay. Ahem. Chapter 1. Tuesday, January 14, was the day Kip Grady learned that loud blenders and hangovers didn't mix. He hadn't meant to drink so much last night, but Chuck and Jimmy had been in town and he hadn't seen those guys in months. It wasn't like he had gotten wrecked. He had been aware that he needed to be at work at 6 the next morning, but he'd still managed to drink just enough to make the high-powered blenders his mortal enemy. But he had a job to do, and that job was to make the best damn smoothie he could for the busy-looking woman waiting at the counter. Here you are, ma'am. He tried not to wince as he handed the customer her order. One green warrior smoothie with a wheatgrass shot. He glanced at the clock. 6:30. Jesus Christ. There was no time to rest his head on the inviting pile of oranges that sat on the counter. The weekday morning rush at Straw plus Berry tended to be steady right up until 9. Maria was working with him this morning, and that was cool. They worked well together because, while neither of them was particularly invested in the job, they took it seriously and did everything they were supposed to do. Plus, she was funny. Which of these damn smoothies cures a hangover? Kip moaned when the shop was briefly empty. None? But allegedly the watermelon one. Okay. I'm gonna make myself a giant watermelon one with like 5 Advils in it. I think you mean 5 wellness boosts? Kip did make himself a giant watermelon smoothie, and he did feel slightly better after drinking it. He took 2 Advil. So, what were you up to last night anyway? Maria asked. Oh, just hanging out with some college friends. Yeah? Are they cute? Nah, I don't know. Not my type. Chuck was big, burly, and bearded. Jimmy was the complete opposite. Short, slim, and looked about 7 years younger than he actually was. Maria says, are they super successful juice bar baristas too? Kip says, they got jobs in their field. They're both working in Boston. Business something? Insurance? Finance? I don't know. They wear suits to work. Maria says, you wear an apron. That's pretty great. Yeah, I'm super proud. And a ball cap with a little strawberry embroidered on it. Come on. Kip threw a chunk of frozen pineapple at her. Tell you what, Kipper. I'm gonna be nice and do all the prep work in the back this morning so you can just rest your pretty head when the rush is over. Yeah? Yep. You are the best and I love you. He sighed happily. I know. Now look alive. We've got businesswomen coming in and they want liquefied kale. It was another hour of steady rush before Kip was finally able to enjoy the quiet that Maria had promised him. She went to the back room to chop fruit and vegetables, and he slumped onto a chair he had dragged behind the counter and pressed his face against the wall. It was a nice, cool wall. He hadn't even realized he had closed his eyes until he was startled by someone clearing their throat. Not aggressively, just enough to let him know they were there. He opened his eyes and stood quickly. "No, sorry, sir," he stammered. "What can I—" Kip's mouth may have dropped open like a cartoon character's. Possibly his jaw was on the floor and his tongue may have rolled out of his mouth like a carpet. It just so happened that the hottest man he had ever seen was standing in front of him. What can I get you? Get for you. Kip managed. The man was tall, blond, and well, ripped. And Kip knew he was ripped because he was wearing a ridiculously tight Under Armour zip-up jacket thing and sweatpants. He must have just finished a run, the way his damp hair clung to his forehead and his skin glistened with sweat. "Good morning." "Good morning," the sweaty man said cheerfully. "Sorry to wake you." Kip's cheeks flushed. He dipped his head a bit so the brim of the stupid baseball cap would conceal it. God, the hottest man in the world is standing in front of me and I am wearing an apron and a strawberry baseball cap? You didn't. I wasn't. Kip took a breath. Pull it together. Sorry, had a bit too much fun last night. The man raised an eyebrow. On a Monday night? Yeah, well, you know the life of a smoothie maker. Live fast, die young, right? The man laughed. Kip nearly fell over. "So, what's good here?" the man asked, squinting at the menu. Um, there's one with blueberries and pineapple and kale, but you can't taste the kale, I swear. It's good. I like it. That would be the Blue Moon over Brooklyn? Yeah, all the names here are kinda dumb. The man pointed a long finger at Kip's name tag. "I like your name." That is so sweet. Oh, let's repeat that, bitch. The man pointed a long finger at Kip's name tag and said, "I like your name." Kip glanced at his own name on the tag as if he didn't know what it said, like an idiot. "It's like a nickname," he said, as if the hot guy had asked him for further information, which he hadn't, but Kip kept talking because that's what he always did. "I mean, everyone calls me Kip, so it is my name, but not like my real name. Anyway, you want one of those blueberry smoothies?" "Sounds good," the man said, politely ignoring how fucking dumb Kip was being. Kip got to work loading the blender with various frozen fruits and fresh kale. Fortunately, it required focus, and then the machine was loud enough that he couldn't talk over it. He glanced over it at the man, who was now standing with his hands on his hips, studying the uninspired photos of fruit that decorated the small space. Kip's eyes didn't know where to land, rapidly jumping from broad shoulders to ridiculously huge arms to a muscled back tapering into a trim waist to an ass that was frankly just. Kip shook his head and turned off the blender. He fumbled for a plastic cup and filled it with blue smoothie. "Here you are, sir." The man turned, nodded, and handed Kip a folded, slightly damp $20 bill, yuck, from the pocket of his sweatpants. He waved his hand when Kip tried to hand him his change. "Keep it." "Seriously?" Kip asked, watching him take his first sip. watching his pink lips fit around the straw. Oh my god, girl. Yeah, the man smiled. Oh, call it a finder's fee. This is delicious. Kev smiled back. Glad you like it. Have a nice day. The man toasted him with his smoothie cup. You too, Kip. Oh, gagged. Kip felt a little giddy at the sound of his name coming from this man's mouth. As his dream man exited, another man who was not nearly as attractive walked into the shop. That is so rude, Rachel. Holy shit, the new customer said, jerking a thumb toward the door. That was Scott Hunter. Huh? The man looked at Kip like he was very dumb. Scott Hunter. You mean like the hockey player guy? Kip said. What? Came a voice from behind him. Maria stood in the doorway to the back room. Did I seriously miss Scott Hunter? I don't think. Do you really think that was him? Kip asked. The customer nodded. Oh yeah, definitely. Surprised he shows his face around town the way he's been sticking up the ice lately. He's not doing well? Kip did have some awareness of who Scott Hunter was, of course. Everyone did, sports fan or not. He was the Stars center and team captain of the New York Admirals. 3 years ago, he had led Team USA to Olympic gold, but Kip mostly knew him for his Hugo Boss ads. He was a huge, big fan of those ads. Kip liked hockey just fine, but he hadn't been following the NHL too closely. Scott Hunter had always been, to his knowledge, celebrated and beloved in this town. The king of New York, really. But apparently Kip had missed something. Yeah, he's been terrible this season, the customer continued. Hasn't scored a goal since November. Didn't know what they're paying. Don't know what they're paying him all that money for. They should trade the bum. Well, Kip said, not sure how to finish. It was ridiculous, but he felt personally offended by this guy's criticisms and was compelled to defend Scott Hunter. Maybe he's just going through some stuff. The customer snorted. He can go through it in the summer. We're not gonna make the playoffs this year if he keeps the shit up. Kip still felt inexplicably angry, but shrugged it off and gave the guy his smoothie so he would leave. When they were alone again, Maria said, was Scott Hunter really in here? I don't know. Maybe. I mean, now that the guy mentioned it, I think it had to be. I was kind of distracted by how hot he was, but yeah, he definitely looked like Hunter. And he gave me a huge tip. How huge? We have to split it, you know. Yeah, I know. It was like a $13 tip. What? Well, if it was Hunter, that's probably like nothing, right? He probably doesn't care about money at all. Must be nice. Yeah. So, Maria said, leaning over into Kip's personal space. He was hot. Oh my god, Kip grinned. He was volcanic. He didn't look real. What was he wearing? Workout clothes. He had just been running, I think. Really tight workout clothes. Oh my god. Yep. I can't believe I missed it. If he comes back, you have to tell me. Even if I'm in the bathroom, just get me. Sure, that won't be weird. Maria started loading the freshly chopped fruit and vegetables into the fridges. Kept help. They worked quietly for a few minutes. Hey, Kip said. He said my name. Who? Hunter? He actually said the word Kip? Yeah, Kip said dreamily. God, I'll bet when he says it, it doesn't even sound dumb. Kip threw a strawberry at her. Kip saw the headline the next morning on the train. Night of the Hunter. He leaned forward a little to read the front page of the paper of the passenger sitting opposite him. Apparently, Hunter had scored a hat trick last night and got 2 assists in a 7-1 trouncing of Washington. Kip smiled. He felt oddly proud of him. Yeah, so nice that millionaire superstar had a good night. Sheesh. The Admirals were playing in New Jersey tonight, the paper said. As Kip walked the 2 blocks from the train station to Strawbla's Berry, he thought about the last time he had been to an Admirals game. Must have been at least 8 years ago. No, longer. Because he'd never seen Hunter play except on television. Jesus, am I just gonna think about Hunter all the time now? He yawned as he took his key out and unlocked the door to the shop. He needed to find a job with a later start. Getting up before 5 to be at work before 6 was ridiculous, especially for minimum wage. The morning went the same as most weekdays. Steady rush from about 7 until 9, and then a bit of quiet before the customers Maria had dubbed the yoga moms started to trickle in. Your boyfriend had a good night last night, Maria said as she restocked the orange bowl. What the hell are you talking about? Scott Hunter scored like 1 million goals or something. 3 goals, Kip corrected her, and 2 assists. Oh, sorry, I didn't realize you were such a hardcore fan. I'm not. I read the paper on the way here. It's like big news or whatever. Oh my god, you were mad crushing on him right now. You went home last night and Google image searched Scott Hunter, didn't you? No. Yes. Whatever. You were such a fanboy. So cute. I hate you. You don't. Maria stacked oranges and Kip swept the floor behind the counter even though it wasn't that dirty. He just hated standing around doing nothing. At a little past 10, the door opened and Kip was once again faced with Scott Hunter in sweaty workout clothes. This time, Maria was there to witness it. Holy shit. Kip elbowed her as subtly as possible. Good morning again, Kip. The man who was definitely Scott Hunter said. Good morning. Jesus, you're Scott Hunter, right? He looked amused. I am. That is so awesome. Maria breathed. It's. Kip started and then switched courses. Great game last night. Thanks. I thought I might get another one of those blueberry smoothies. When something goes right in my game, I like to try to repeat what I did that day. Right, Kip said. Scott's eyes were blue. They were so blue. So, another blueberry smoothie, please. Right. Kip broke out of his trance and got to work making the smoothie. Scott Hunter was once again wearing an absurdly tight Under Armour jacket and sweatpants. His hair was damp and mussed, and his skin was slightly flushed from exercise. Kip Grady was once again wearing a fucking dumb apron and a ball cap with a goddamn strawberry on it. But at least he wasn't hungover this time. He handed the star athlete his smoothie and tried not to focus too closely on the way his lips wrapped around the straw. It was difficult because Scott was looking directly at him as he took his first sip. His lips curved up a bit when he noticed Kip's staring. Thanks again, Kip, he said. Hopefully, I'll see you next game day. He raised the smoothie cup in a farewell salute and then he left. When Kip turned to Maria, her jaw was on the floor. Hopefully, I'll see you next game day, she said. Are you kidding me? What? He's completely into you, Grady. Kip turned as red as the strawberry on his hat. Oh, come on, that's not what he meant. Sure it isn't. It isn't. He's just superstitious. He means he hopes it works and he has a great game tonight, so he will be back again next game day. That's it. I know that's what he was saying on the surface, idiot, but that is not all he was saying. He's not even. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm talking about this. Scott Hunter is not into dudes, and he's definitely not into dudes who work at smoothie shops. If you say so. I'm gonna go back there and chop the pineapple. Kip grumbled. Better check to make sure we have lots of blueberries stocked. Maria sing-songed after him. I wanna... Okay, I wanna go back to that part. I'm going to go back there and chop the pineapple. Kip grumbled. Better check to make sure we have lots of blueberries stocked. Maria sing-songed after him. Okay. Kip stood in the living room of his best friend's Tribeca apartment, admiring the view of the Hudson River. He couldn't even imagine what a place like this would cost. Living in New York City was expensive, but Kip had a super impressive strategy that allowed him to work a minimum wage job and manage to file his student loan payments on time each month. He still lived with his parents. Yes, he was 25. Yes, he had graduated university when he was 22, but the thing was, history majors weren't exactly being snapped up on the job market. Kip had dreams, aspirations. He wanted to work at one of the museums. Maybe move on to work at one in Europe one day. Maybe write a book or two. Maybe host a popular television show where he traveled the world and presented different important historic sites to the home viewers. Maybe consult on historical movies in Hollywood. Or maybe turn fruit and vegetables into drinkable mush for busy people on their way to jobs that were actually important. The owner of the apartment in which he now stood, Elena, had a real job and a life that seemed very adult compared to Kip's. She was a cybersecurity engineer for Equinox Tech. Gag, 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 Elena gag. Equinox Tech, one of the fastest growing IT companies in the country. Kip did not know what exactly a cybersecurity engineer was, but it seemed to pay very well and it sounded impressive. Elena was, hands down, the smartest person Kip knew. Besides being brilliant and funny, she was also stunningly beautiful, an unusual combination of her father's Norwegian height and bone structure, and her mother's Lebanese dark hair and olive skin. Kip's friendship with her back in high school had helped him realize that he wasn't actually sexually interested in women. Because if he wasn't interested in her, well... Anyway, Elena had probably known he was gay before he did. She knew everything before he did. You need a new... You need a new... Oh. You need a roommate? Kip asked, turning away from the windows. No, she said. Not ever. They settled themselves on her couch to eat Szechuan food. Parentheses, Elena did not cook. Kip had barely taken a bite before Elena casually said, So, who is he? Noodles slipped from Kip's chopsticks, sliding back into the box where they came from. What? Who? What do you mean? You've had a dreamy look on your face all night. Who are you thinking about? Kip's face flushed. He poked at the noodles with his chopsticks. No one. Christopher. Elena liked to use his real name when he was exhausting her. You will laugh. That doesn't sound like me. Kip smiled at that. It's just, you know, Scott Hunter? Do I know Scott Hunter? Not personally, no. You've heard of him, though. Yeah? Okay, so he's been coming by the shop. The smoothie shop? Yeah, the past couple of days. For luck, he says, because he played so well after he got a smoothie yesterday morning. So he came in today and got another one because they're playing again tonight. Okay. He's just. He's really hot, is all. Elena's lips twitched a bit, but she didn't laugh. That's exciting. Yeah. They continued. They continued to eat in silence, and Kip, who apparently could not be cool about this, lasted all of a minute before he blurted out, "He knows my name." Elena raised an eyebrow. He said, "Good morning, Kip," when he came in today. Kip tried again but failed to keep the dopey grin off his face. That must have been a thrill. Yeah, and he said he hopes to see me again. Like if the smoothie works or whatever. The magic hockey smoothie? Stop making fun of me. I'm not. I'll tell you what else. We are watching that hockey game tonight. Mm-hmm. Okay. Kip was embarrassingly nervous watching the hockey game. Every hit Scott took, Kip flinched. Every shot Scott launched at the net, Kip held his breath. He wanted this game to go well for Hunter, and there was no point in kidding himself about why. At the end of the first period, the score was tied 1-1. Scott stopped on his way into the dressing room for a quick interview. He pulled his helmet off and his damp hair stuck out in all directions. Kip's heart fluttered. Scott was drenched in sweat, even more so than when he came into the shop after his runs. Kip could see the glisten of it down Scott's neck, into the red collar of his jersey. Scott was saying words about strong defense and working as a team. His beautiful mouth hovered above the microphone, his blue eyes looking neither at the camera nor at the man interviewing him. It was like he was barely present at this interview, already wherever he'd rather be at the moment. He's definitely attractive, Elena said. Yeah, Kip breathed. The game stayed close for the second period. It wasn't until the third period, when Scott scored 2 goals and assisted on one more, that the Admiral silenced the fans in the Newark arena. Kip was giddy. He is incredible. That last goal, he probably shot that puck 100 miles an hour, but it looked like slow motion. He's got talented hands, Elena agreed, with a quirk of her lips. She picked up her phone and typed something. Next game is Saturday night at home against Tampa Bay, she said. Are you working on Saturday? Kip groaned. Ah, fuck. I need to be. I gotta switch shifts. Who's working Saturday? He picked up his own phone and texted Maria. Are you working Saturday? The response came a minute later. Yeah? Can I switch with you? Why? I'm scheduled for Friday. Let's swap, please. Is this about Scott, Hunter? Kip felt dumb, but he still typed. Maybe. Jesus, Kip. Please. Fine. There was a pause, and she added, You're working with Jeff. Ugh. Jeff was the worst. Just really lazy and basically stoned all the time. Kip couldn't even believe he still worked there. But it would be worth it, because when the game ended, the score was 6-2 for the Admirals, which meant Scott was going to be coming in on Saturday for sure. Probably for sure. Almost certainly for sure. Mic test? Yeah. Chapter 2. Yeah. Chapter 2. Kip may have gotten up extra early on Saturday to put some additional care into his appearance. There had been nothing he could do about his uniform, but he would at least make sure his nicest jeans were clean, and he had decided to wear the stylish new sneakers he had bought a couple of weeks ago that he could not afford at all, but had not been able to resist. He'd even bothered to fix his hair up a bit, despite knowing he had to slap his stupid ball cap over it. He flossed. He tucked mints into his pocket to cover up his eventual coffee breath. He arrived at the shop 10 minutes early after a relatively relaxing commute, and was not at all surprised to see that he was the first to arrive. He got to work prepping, taking special care to make sure they had the ingredients for Scott's Blue Moon over Brooklyn smoothie ready. 20 minutes after the shop opened at 6, Kip was still alone. Again, not a huge surprise given that it was Jeff who was scheduled to work with him, but it was grating. At 6:30 the phone rang. Jeff was calling in sick. Kip couldn't even conjure up the energy to be angry, especially since this might mean being all alone in the shop when Scott. You're way too excited about the possibility of a 2-minute interaction with a man who is not at all interested in you, Kip. Saturdays were always way quieter than weekdays. The morning crawled with just a trickle of customers to break the monotony. Kip ended up pulling out his phone and, of course, reading old articles about Scott Hunter. There were a lot of articles. Most of them had the same information. Scott had been born and raised in Rochester and had always been the best player on any team he played for, right from his adolescent days. The articles often highlighted his generous devotion to charities, especially those that help sick children, and described him as an outstanding role model on and off the ice. The other thing the articles always mentioned was that Scott Hunter was one of New York's most eligible bachelors. He had never been linked to a woman for any significant amount of time, parentheses interesting, and he tended to dodge any questions about his private life, parentheses more interesting. Kip was busy saving the photos from Scott's GQ article onto his phone when the door opened. He scrambled to shove his phone into his pocket as Scott Hunter entered the shop. It would be ridiculous to say that Scott's face lit up when he saw Kip, but that really was what it looked like. "Kip," he said, a delighted smile spreading across his sweat-slicked face. "I was worried you might not be working today." "You were?" Kip asked, too shocked to say anything more intelligent. "I just mean..." And did Scott Hunter seem embarrassed? "I like to keep as many things the same in my routine as possible. And you made the other two smoothies, so... Must be something about the way I make them," Kip said, bravely attempting a flirtatious smile. "Must be." Kip gathered the ingredients and started dropping them into the blender. "I watched the game the other night," he said. "That last goal was really something." "Thanks." Scott sounded like he truly appreciated it. "I felt good about that one." He smiled at Kip, whose mouth went dry. He turned on the blender before he could say anything stupid like, "What do your abs taste like?" "All alone today?" Scott asked as Kip handed him as usual. "Yeah, I was supposed to be working with someone, but he called in sick. He's actually, I don't know, he's kind of useless." Kip cringed inwardly as he said this, as if Scott Hunter gives a shit about your coworkers. "Sorry to hear it," Scott said. "I've had teammates like that." Kip laughed, because was Scott Hunter seriously comparing their two lines of work? You mind if I drink this here?" Scott asked, as if there weren't tables and chairs right next to him. "I just have some emails to read." He pulled his phone out of his pocket and waved it in the air. Of course, yeah," Kip said, not able to believe his luck. Scott sat at one of the little bistro tables with his back to the door, parentheses, and his face to Kip. Kip tried hard not to just stare at him as Scott scrolled through emails on his phone, occasionally sipping from his blue smoothie. He was drinking it very slowly, it seemed. After 15 minutes, Kip left his station behind the counter and went to work wiping tables that didn't need to be cleaned at all. When he was at the table next to Scott's, he took a chance and broke the silence. "You sure this isn't going to mess up your game? Breaking routine like this?" Okay, let me repeat that paragraph. Mhm. When he was at the table next to Scott's, he took a chance and broke the silence. "You sure this isn't going to mess up your game? Breaking routine like this?" "What? Oh, no, I don't have to do everything the same. I mean, I'm not that obsessive." "Sure," Kip said, with a bit of a smirk. Scott grinned and even laughed. "I probably do seem weird, don't I? Acting like this smoothie is a magic potion or something?" Kip shrugged. "I've read about athletes. You're all nuts, right? Putting your uniforms in a certain way, not changing your socks, not shaving." Scott pointed an accusing finger at him. "Hey, only in the playoffs, and that is a time-honored tradition." "Totally normal, then." Kip could not believe what he was about to do, but he had to test the waters. Just a little. "Not saying I mind it," he said, as casually as he could manage. "You guys always look so rugged by the time you hoist the cup, like a bunch of hot lumberjacks." There, so that was out there. Scott looked at him, and Kip could swear the ghost of a smile passed over his lips. But then Scott stood abruptly, and the smile was gone. "Well, I should get going." Kip wanted to die. He had just been flirting with Scott fucking Hunter, and now Scott was going to leave forever because what the hell, Grady? "Thanks again, Kip," Scott said. He was kinder than Kip deserved. But when he got to the door, Scott stopped and turned. "Would you like to go to the game tonight?" "What?" No one is using my tickets. I could give you two so you can, like, bring someone if you want." "Are you serious?" "Why wouldn't I be?" Kip gaped at the impossibly gorgeous celebrity filling the doorway of the shop who was offering him a gift for no reason. "If you're sure, I would love to go." "I am sure, and I'm happy to hear that. Just give them your name and we'll call." "Okay, I'll see you tonight then," Kip said, like an idiot. Scott just smiled and left. Kip should not have been at all surprised that Scott Hunter's personal seats were phenomenal. 6 rows from the ice, on the blue line facing the home bench. Just unreal. Shit, Elena said. I know Equinox has a box here, but these seats are way better. I can't believe we're here. I can't believe we're using Scott Hunter's tickets. It's a weird date though. You're here with a woman and he's at work. It's not a date. I'm sure he gives tickets to every smoothie shop clerk. Kid had been trying not to think too much about why Scott had given him the tickets. He's just thanking me because he thinks I'm in some way responsible for his hot streak. Like I said, he's nuts. Nuts about you, maybe. Don't be dumb. Kip, she said, placing her beer into her cup holder. You do know what you look like, right? Or do you? You're hot, Grady. Extremely hot. I am okay. No, listen to me. You're ridiculously good looking. Do you think I'm happy that you're gay? I'm not. Kip rolled his eyes. As if. And besides, he lowered his voice to a whisper, leaning in. We don't know that Hunter is on my team, don't we? No! I mean, I get hints that maybe, like how we're sitting in his personal seats because he personally gave you his personal tickets when he visited you at work for the 3rd time this week. Kip was blushing now. He's just superstitious, he mumbled. That's all. The players came out on the ice to warm up. Kip watched them all skate around, go down on the ice to stretch, take turns lobbing easy shots at their goalies. He tried, but failed, to not pay too much extra attention to number 21, Scott Hunter. The man was doing a deep lunging hamstring stretch that showed how flexible he was. Okay, so that is what that exercise is called. A deep lunging hamstring stretch. You know, the exercise. You know, if you know, you know. Where was I? The man was doing a deep plunging hamstring stretch that showed how flexible he was. Kip imagined what that position might look like without the heavily padded hockey pants. Oh! Oh! Well, that's a gag. Oh, anyway. His undersexed brain took him on a wonderful journey for a few minutes, and he was so distracted that he almost didn't notice when Hunter skated by the glass in front of him, looking like he had skated right off a promotional poster in his crisp red, white, and blue uniform, and nodded at him. No, not at me. Must be at someone sitting behind me. Kip turned his head. There was no one sitting behind him yet. No one in front of him either. Huh. The warm-up wrapped up. The Zambonis came out to clear the ice, and then the spectacle that was the pre-game show started. The lights went out and videos of the admirals in action were projected onto the ice while rock music blared. There was dry ice and pyrotechnics, and when the players came storming out, the blaze hit a fever pitch. Kip was struck by two things. First, Scott Hunter was a big star, like really big. A mammoth superstar athlete, and the city loved him. It seemed like half the people in the crowd were wearing his jersey. And when Scott's name was announced as the game's starting center, the crowd was deafening. He was not just a guy who liked blueberry smoothies and was nice to the shop clerks who made them. This guy was New York, and Kip was here as his guest. Holy fuck. The other thing that struck him was that Scott commanded a lot of respect from his teammates. Kip could see the way the younger players would glow when he clapped them on the shoulder and complimented them on a good play. Even the referees seemed to like him, giving him little taps on the elbow after they explained a penalty decision to him. The game was incredible. Scott was incredible. He not only scored a goal each period and assisted on another one, he also made the crowd roar when he leveled a Tampa winger near center ice with a huge hip check. What does that even mean, Rachel Reid? What is a what is a leveled Tampa winger near center ice with a huge hip check? What is that, girl? Leveled a Tampa winger near center ice with a huge hip check. Does that mean like he bumped another player legally within the game's rules? He also made the crowd roar when he leveled a Tampa winger near center ice with a huge hip check. A huge hip check. So did Scott hit the Tampa winger with his hips? I don't know. Anyway, Kip was the most impressed when Scott broke up a fight before it happened, calming his teammate down with a firm hold on his arm and words that Kip wished he could have heard. It was undeniably sexy to watch Scott playing so much skill and authority throughout the game. He was spectacular. That was so fucking great, Kip said, far too loudly as they made their way to the subway after the game. I want to go to another one. I want to go to all of them. Well, you'll have to wait, superfan, Elena said. The Admirals hit the road for the next 2 weeks. Kip should not have felt as devastated as he did by that news. Suddenly, the idea of working an entire shift without seeing Scott seemed unbearable. When he was at home in bed that night, he couldn't help but wonder if Scott was at all unhappy about going on the road, away from his safe routine. He was being stupid. Scott was a professional hockey player who was not going to be missing his dumb smoothies while on the road. Kip sighed and resigned himself to at least 2 weeks of Scott Hunter-free shifts at work. Chapter 3. Okay, I think I'll end it at chapter 3. I'll finish this chapter because this is all the same chapter that I almost finished while commuting to work. Okay, let me just drink water, drink my tea. Um, um. Okay, chapter 3. Scott watched the island of Manhattan disappear as the plane pushed through the thick clouds that had covered the city for days. He felt off, but he didn't know why. It had nothing to do with this game because he was playing better than he had all season. The team was on a winning streak, and they were free of any major injuries. Plus, the team's private plane was taking them to Phoenix, which would give them a nice break from the bitter cold of January in New York. His agent was happy again, at least. A couple of weeks ago, Scott had received a very panicked call from Todd Wheeler, the man who had represented him since his college hockey days. "We are in real trouble here," Todd had said. "The sponsors don't like what they're seeing from you. Gillette is saying they won't renew next year. Even Under Armour is getting nervous. Fucking Under Armour, Scott. We can't lose them. If the conversation was supposed to have motivated Scott, it hadn't worked. It wasn't like he hadn't known he was playing terribly, or that he had been happy about it. Believe me, Todd, Scott had said. No one is more disappointed in me than I am. But yesterday Scott had received a very different phone call. Whatever you did to get your game back, keep doing it, a relieved sounding Todd had said. Except Scott couldn't keep doing it. He would be on the road for 2 weeks, mostly playing teams in the Western Conference. The Admirals had 7 games scheduled, ending with one in Toronto, before they flew home. Scott never minded being on the road. He liked his teammates, and he wasn't a nervous flyer like some of them. He also, unlike most of the team, didn't have a wife and kids that he had to leave behind. But for the first time in his career, Todd felt absurdly like he was leaving someone behind. Oh, they're so cute. Scott's seatmate and one of his assistant captains, Carter Vaughn, was particularly excited about their upcoming stop in Los Angeles. He had been seeing Gloria Gray, a very famous and extremely attractive television actress, for a few months now. Nothing serious. Carter had insisted the last time Scott asked him about her. Just two beautiful, chill people enjoying each other's company whenever we're in the same city. Scott thought it might be more than that, but he didn't say anything. He was the last person who should be nosy about other people's love lives. Carter had his headphones on already. Since there was nothing to look at outside the window, Scott pulled out his book. It was a dumb spy novel, but it was something to pass the time with. Scott tried to read, but his mind kept wandering. It kept conjuring the image of a charming smoothie shop clerk with stunning hazel eyes and the cutest smile. He turned his head so Carter wouldn't notice his goofy grin. He had come to the game last night. Kip. Scott had nodded at him, but Kip hadn't done anything in return. Maybe he hadn't seen it? Maybe he had thought Scott was weird? Either way, it had made Scott absurdly happy to see him sitting in that arena. Happier still to see that he had brought a female friend with him, because Kip had implied that he was attracted to men. At least, Scott was pretty sure that was what had happened. He was hopelessly clueless about flirting. He frowned. Kip might be bisexual. Maybe that woman he had been with was his girlfriend. She had certainly looked pretty enough. Scott was not bisexual. What the world didn't know was that he wasn't straight either. He had known he was gay for a long time, since he had played junior actually. He'd had a terrible crush on a teammate then, one he'd been sure was unrequited. Even if it hadn't been, he had known Jacob would never act on it, would never admit it. Making a move on him would only have gotten Scott a black eye, or worse. It could have cost Scott his career if word had gotten out, because hockey players weren't gay. No NHL player was ever gay. Scott knew, now that he was older and wiser, that there was no way that that was true. But it didn't change the fact that no one in the league had ever been openly gay, or even openly bisexual. NHL players married young, had a bunch of kids, and took the family to the cottage in the summer. NHL players golfed and drank and played poker and ate steak and went to strip clubs and slept with fuck bunnies and used words like fag and queer liberally. So Scott kept his love life to himself, or lack thereof. It was hard enough to be discreet when you were just an average anybody. It was infinitely harder when you were a superstar athlete. Scott couldn't go online and hook up with random men. He would always be scared one of them would talk to the press. He felt the same way about sex workers. He avoided gay bars and clubs, not that he would necessarily be into that sort of thing anyway. He was a terrible dancer. Most of his sexual encounters happened during the summers. He would go away to exotic places where people didn't know a damn thing about hockey. Italy, Spain, Brazil, Greece, places where he was just one of many young, fit men looking for one thing. Summer had been a long damn time ago. What Scott didn't do, what he never, ever did, was flirt with shop clerks in Manhattan, because that would be stupid and careless and not at all worth the risk. He would certainly he would certainly never give them a hint that he was interested in men. Scott had gotten good at concealing that fact. He'd had years of practice after all. But there was something about Kip. Scott couldn't even name it. Obviously, he was good looking. Parentheses. He's fucking gorgeous, Scott. Come on. With those dimples and those eyes. At the game last night, Scott had finally gotten a glimpse of Kip when he wasn't wearing a ball cap and apron. He'd like to get a much closer look sometime. Jesus. So yes, he was attractive. Lots of men in New York were attractive. Hell, lots of them. So, hell, lots of men on Scott's team were attractive. So that wasn't the entire reason why Scott couldn't stop thinking about him. There was just something about him. Scott wanted to talk to him for hours and find out everything about him. Show him everything. Give him everything. Oh, that's when you know Scott is a bottom. I said what I said. That's how you know he's a bottom. Mm-hmm. Show him everything. Give him everything. Okay, Scott, I see you. I know what you are. His reason for returning to the shop on game days wasn't a ruse. He certain he sincerely felt that it was important to stick to routines when his game was going well. He had been playing the worst hockey of his career before he'd walked into that shop and Kip had served him that smoothie, and he'd been on fire ever since, in more ways than one, if he was being honest. Switching perspectives to Kip. Hey, stranger. Hey, Dad, Kip said as he went to the cupboard to grab the cereal box. It was Kip's day off, which meant a rare morning at home. I never asked you how the game was the other night, his dad said. It was awesome, Kip grinned to himself as he said it. Really? Dad sipped his coffee and looked at Kip from where he sat at the little kitchen table. It was awfully nice of Scott Hunter to give you those tickets. It was. I don't think there's a person in Brooklyn your mother hasn't told about that. God, it's not a big deal. We don't have a lot of excitement in our lives, Dad smiled. Kip joined his father at the same round table he had been eating breakfast at his whole life. He loved his parents. He loved this house. But he also desperately wanted to get out on his own. How's Elena? Dad asked. Great. You know, completely impressive in every way. No job openings for you at Equinox Tech? What the hell would I do at Equinox? I'm just a history nerd with like my old man. Well, what about the New York Admirals? Are they hiring? Yeah, team historian. His dad chuckled and leaned back in his chair. So, this thing with Scott Hunter. There is no thing with Scott Hunter. Alright, his dad said in that sing-song tone of, fine, none of my business. Seriously, he just thinks the dumb smoothies I make are good luck or something. Nothing to do with me. Your mother will be very disappointed to hear that. Kip rolled his eyes but smiled. I think Megan's gonna be here for dinner tonight, his father said. Andrew too. Oh, nice. Megan was Kip's big sister, and Andrew was her boyfriend. The two of them lived together in Williamsburg. Whenever Megan came home for any occasion, it just reminded Kip that she had to come home. She was almost 4 years older than Kip, but still. You planning on being here tonight? His dad asked. Sure, Kip said, forcing another smile. Where else would I be? POV change again. POV of Scott Hunter. Scott slumped against the wall of the steam room, exhausted and frustrated. They should have won this one. They had played their backup goalie, a kid from Sweden named Tommy Anderson, and it hadn't gone well. But Anderson wasn't to blame. No one had helped him. Scott ran his hands over his sweat-slicked face and into his damp hair. Scott hadn't even showed up tonight. It had just been a terrible effort by the whole team, and it should have been an easy win. Coach Murdoch had already made them feel ashamed of themselves. He'd walked into the room, shook his head, and walked out, worse than being screamed at. No one came into the steam room to bother Scott. They knew better. He sighed and stood up, tightening his towel around his waist. He needed a shower and something to drink. He walked into the lounge area, still wearing his towel, and grabbed a bottle of water from the fridge. He downed it in one go, then turned to see Greg Huff sitting on the counter behind him. So that was a shit show, Huff said. You're not kidding, Scott said. I don't even know what to say. I mean, I'm not the captain, but maybe like, hey fuckheads, stop playing such shitty hockey or something. Scott smiled a little. That was more or less what I was thinking. Oh, Ron Anderson, man. I feel sorry for that kid. Yeah, Scott said, looking in the direction of the dressing room. How's he doing? Wonderful. How do you think he's doing? I'll talk to him. You're off the hook. Got our only goal tonight. Nice one too. Huff, Huff gave him a lazy salute. What I'm good for. It was true. Greg Huff was one of the best shooters in the game. He had incredible aim and had been an NHL All-Star for 8 consecutive seasons because of it. Scott grabbed a Gatorade from the fridge. Huff put out his hands in a catching position, so Scott threw him one as well. I'm gonna take a shower, Scott said, but tell Anderson to stick around, alright? I'll do. If Scott could have a whole team of Greg Huffs, he would be thrilled. Greg was a real dependable stand-up guy and a tremendous team presence on and off the ice. Not the flashiest player and not the biggest guy by a long shot, but a huge contributor to the team. Scott went to the showers. A couple of other guys were in there. Most of the team had already showered and were getting ready to go back to the San Jose hotel. One of the guys in the shower was Frank Zulio, who he was the only player on the team Scott just didn't like. He was a great defenseman, no question, big and tough, and a brutal fighter when necessary. But he was also a bully, and a bit of a creep, really. There were plenty of guys like Zulo in the NHL. Scott made the water a little hotter, letting it wash away this terrible game. Tomorrow morning they flew to Chicago. They had a night off, then a game the following afternoon, then a short night flight to Toronto for a game the next evening, and then home to New York. He left the showers and went to the lockers. He put on some shorts and a t-shirt and went to find Anderson in the dressing room. The young goalie was packing up his gear, looking miserable. "Oh," Scott said, sitting on the bench beside Anderson's enormous goalie gear bag. "I'm sorry we didn't help you out there tonight." Anderson huffed an angry laugh. "I fucked up," he said in his heavily accented English. "We all did. I looked like a fucking idiot out there." Okay, let me just redo that. What nationality is Anderson again? Oh, never mind. I'll just do it in English shit. Anderson huffed an angry laugh. "I fucked up," he said in his heavily accented English. "We all did. I look like a fucking idiot out there." "Murdoch made the right call, putting you in," Scott said. "I don't blame you a bit. I blame the rest of us. It's just psychological. Putting the backup goalie in makes us cocky, I guess. Like the coach thinks this game should be a walk, so we all believe it. And then I looked like a fucking idiot." Scott tilted his head in acknowledgement. "We're all gonna be replaying our mistakes tonight when we're in our beds. No one on this team is proud of themselves tonight, but no one blames you either. I need you to know that." The young goalie gave him a reluctant smile. "Thanks," he said. He stuffed the last of his gear into his bag and stood. "I'm gonna head to the hotel, replace some of those mistakes, and then I'm gonna forget all about it and get ready for the next game." "Good, man. You're rooming with Bert, right?" Scott asked, just to make conversation as they walked out of the room. "Yeah?" "Man, I'm sorry. Good luck." Tommy laughed. "Yeah, thanks. I pretend I can't understand him when I need him to stop talking." Scott laughed too. Tommy's English was excellent. "I'm gonna get my stuff together," Scott said. "See you tomorrow, Tommy." "Good night." POV change. Kip scanned the crowded pub until he spotted Sean sitting alone at a small table. Sean grinned across the room at him. "Hey man," Sean said, standing and hugging Kip when he reached the table. "Glad you could make it out." "Been around straight people too much lately," Kip joked, releasing Sean and settling into the wooden chair across the table from him. It was the same pub they had been coming to for years, the Kingfisher. It had the same worn, cozy feel of a decade-old English-style pub, with dark wood, dim lighting, and beer signs on the walls. A television at the back of the room showed local sports. At a glance, it didn't look like a gay bar at all, Or at least not what most straight people probably picture a gay bar being. But the men sat a little closer, and the bartenders were, in Kip's opinion, a little hotter. He loved this place. We got a cute server, Sean said. I like him. Aw, I can't compete with you. Sean shook his head and raised his pint glass. Too clean cut for me. It's all yours. Sean was a complicated guy. He was handsome, all dark skin, and soft eyes and a warm smile. He was also an impeccable dresser, always looking like a J. Crew catalog model. He and Kip had fooled around a bit in college. Nothing too serious, but they had both been eager to experiment. Sean had a thing for bad boys, though. Despite his straight-laced appearance, he had always been drawn to men with tattoos and an air of danger about them. Kip was just an eager to please nerd who couldn't figure out his own life out. The server stopped by the table, and Sean hadn't even been kidding. Where was I? Kidding. Where is it? And Sean hadn't been kidding. Slim, athletic build, and blonde hair falling in his face. The guy was exactly King's type. Oh my god, I'm actually sleepy. Exactly Kip's type. Kip gave him a flirty smile as he ordered because he couldn't help himself. He received one in return, and the man introduced himself as Kyle. Sean laughed after Kyle left. Always so fucking smooth. As if, Kip said. As if, Kip said. I'm a mess most of the time. Nah, you're all charm. That boy is already thinking about telling you when his shift ends. Kip looked over his shoulder toward the bar where Kyle was waiting, presumably for Kip's beer. Well, mm, Kyle was waiting, presumably for Kip's beer. Well, but first we have something to talk about, Sean said. What's that? I've been thinking about when we were out with Jimmy and Chuck last week. No, Kip could really use that beer. First of all, I feel like we maybe ganged up on you when we were asking me what the fuck I was doing with my life, encouraging you to pursue your dreams. Right. Kyle, the wonderful angel, came to the table with Kip's pint of local red ale. As he leaned to place the glass on the table, he shook. He took the opportunity to rest a hand on Kip's shoulder. Kip felt the tips of his fingers brush the back of his neck. Let me know if you need anything else, Kyle said. Where am I? As he leaned to place the glass on the table, he took the opportunity to rest a hand on Kip's shoulder. Okay, Kyle said, the double meaning lost on no one. Look, Kip said to Sean after enjoying a parting smile from Kyle. I know you guys just... I have a proposition for you, Sean interrupted. Kip raised an eyebrow. Those never ended particularly well before. a business proposition, and I remember a few of those previous times that weren't bad at all. Kip smiled into his beer. Me too. I promise. Uh, I propose, Sean said, that you apply for a better job. Kip fought the urge to roll his eyes. Like where? I have a friend. A friend, huh? A friend, He works at the Museum of the City of New York. Okay, Kip was listening now. He said he told me that, so for 3 years. Where am I? Friend. He told me that they are just about to post an opening for an assistant educator. You know, someone who helps organize school trips and stuff. Teach the little kiddies all about our great city. Where am I? Kip slumped back in his chair. I'm not qualified for that. Sean looked at him pointedly. Do I need to use my Elena voice? No, Kip groaned. Where am I? You will apply for this job, Kip Brady, and you will dazzle them with your charm and your love of history, and that you have lived here all of your life. I won't even get an interview. I'm calling Elena. Oh my god, I'm literally sleepy, bitch. Apply for the job, Kip. Kip sighed. Why not, right? Okay, I'll apply. Thanks for letting me know. Don't mention it, asshole. Now. Sean leaned back and made a show of looking around the bar. How about you see if our friend Kyle feels like celebrating your glamorous new career? This time, Kip did roll his eyes. I'm not celebrating shit, and he stopped himself because wasn't sure what he wanted to say. I'm holding out for someone else right now. You probably know him. He's the captain of the New York Admirals. You might remember him from People magazine's 50 Most Beautiful People issue. Yeah, I have a crush on him. He's almost definitely heterosexual. Fingers crossed. Instead, he just said, I think I'm gonna head home early tonight. But let's see if we can't find you someone. Next POV, Scott Hunter. Damn. Okay, almost finished. It wasn't fucking charging. It was a fucking hit. It's hockey, you blind mother. That's enough. Scott grasped Zulu firmly by both arms and hauled him away from the referee. Zula turned his head and kept screaming. What? I can't fucking touch anyone now? This not a contact sport anymore? Open your fucking eyes, you. I'll talk to him. Just go to the box, Zulu. Zula shook his head. Carter skated over to help escort him to the penalty box. If Zulu kept with the yelling up, he would end up with a game misconduct. Scott went back to the referee. Charging Hal? Really? You telling me I don't know how to do my job as gunner? I know what I saw. Uh, Scott went back to the referee. Charging? Hal? Really? You telling me I don't know how to do my job, Hunter? I know what I saw. Hal Coleman, one of Scott's favorite referees, only came up to Scott's chest. But he was tough as nails under his calm demeanor. Smart, too. Well, Scott said, glancing at the penalty box that was now occupied by a fuming Frank Zulo. Won't hurt him to cool off a bit in there anyway. He's a real sweetheart, Hal agreed. Scott looked across the ice to the Chicago bench. Is Becker alright? I'm gonna go check on him. He seems to still be alive. Hal looked pointedly at Scott. Tell your boy if you see that shit again, he's out of the game. Hal left so head. Hal left to head over to the chaos bench, and Scott headed to penalty box. Couldn't change his mind, he said. Just take two to cool off, and then we'll finish disappointing the home crowd. It wasn't charging. No fucking way that was charging. Zulos papped. Jesus fucking Christ, Hunter. You fucking serious? You playing for Chicago now? Becker took a dive. Becker took a dive. Scott was already skating back to the bench. Take two, honestly. Uh, Scott was already skating back to the bench. Take two, Frank, he called over his shoulder. Carter caught up with him. How much can I sip, Hal? How much can I slip, Hal, to suspend Zudo for a couple of games? Come on, Scott said dryly. Zula is perfectly capable of addressing balance beyond. Oh my god, I actually almost slept. God damn. Where did I stop again? Take two, Frank. Uh-huh. Come on, Scott said dryly. Azula is perfectly capable of getting suspended without your help. Fucking psychopath, Carter muttered. We're still doing Chicago cut after the game, right? I need those stakes. Yeah. Hal blew the whistle for the face-off. Scott went down to the circle in their end of the ice to take it, and threw some encouraging words at the goaltender as he skated by the net. Good game, Benny. Don't say a damn word. You jinxed me and I'm coming after you. Scott chuckled. Eric Bennett was as mild-mannered as they come off the ice, but once he was in the crease, he was as fierce a competitor as Scott had ever known. Scott bent down at the circle and put his stick on the ice. He glanced up to meet the eye of his opponent, a star center for Chicago named Clark. If Zula tries that shit again, I'm sending Harvey after him. Man, go ahead. Don't know why you would do that to Harvey, though. Scott smiled. Zulu is a piece of shit. No, no, if you can say something nice. As soon as Scott won the face-off, he raced down to the opposing team's zone and took a quick pass back from Carter. He launched the puck at the net and watched it sail over the goalie's shoulder for short-handed goal. It felt so fucking good to have his game back. Chapter 4. Yep, I'm done. Chapter 4 is for next time, people. As I'm sleepy. But I'm not gonna sleep. Because it's time to game. Yes. Time to play DDD. And I will be... Where is it? I will be playing Gag of the Heartness. I'm gonna equip all the magical perks. Magical perks. So that would include uh that would include mic test, mic test, mic test. Okay, Dead by Daylight. It's loading. Give me a moment. It's time for Dead by Daylight, people. Oh my god. It's time for Dead by Daylight. Magical perks would be one from Michaela, one from Vittorio, one from Michaela, one from Vittorio, one from... Oh, shush, you... one from Michaela, one from Vittorio, and then... I'm thinking Yoichi. Yoichi. Wait a minute. Okay. What would be a magical build? I'm thinking... I'm thinking... Hmm. Okay. What would constitute magic in Dead by Daylight? My mic is not syncing again. Mic test. Baby. Okay, let me just fix my mic so that it syncs properly. My test. Okay, that's good. I'm actually getting close to memorizing Where's My Husband by Ray. Baby, where the hell is my husband? What is taking him so long to find me? Oh, baby, where the hell is my lover? Getting down with another. Tell him if you see him, baby. If you see him, tell him he should holler. What is this beautiful man? Why is this beautiful man waiting for me to get older? Patience. He must free, he must need me completely. How my heart yearns for him. Is he far away? Is he okay? This man is testing me. Oh, help me, help me, help me, Lord. I need you to tell me, baby. Where the hell is my husband? What is taking him so long to find me? Oh, baby, where the hell is my lover? Getting down with another. Tell him if you see him, baby. If you see him, tell him he should holler. I would like a ring, I would like a ring, I would like a diamond ring on my wedding finger. I would like a big and shiny diamond that I can wave and talk around and talk about it. Talk, talk, and talk and talk about. I got there. That's the only thing I know. I would like a ring, I would like a ring, I would like a diamond ring on my wedding finger. I would like a big and shiny diamond that I can wave around and talk about it. Don't even understand the rhythm of that part. Okay, let's do. Okay, girl. Let's not think about magic as in which characters can wield magic, but how it looks in the game. So I'm gonna do this elimination, and then I'm gonna do Vittorio's thing because that also looks like magic. And surprisingly, Rebecca. Oh no. Who owns that perk? This one. Cheryl Mason. That's a gag. When repairing a generator while this perk is active, block the generator. Wait! What? Is it just a one-time use? After repairing generators for 45 seconds. Block the generator. That is so trash. Never mind. I thought it's... I thought you can use that more than once in a game. That is crazy. Anyway, diversion, of course, that is also magic. I would like to think so. And then... what else looks like magic? Aura looks like magic, of course. Bardic inspiration looks like magic. Baby, this is going to be an awful match, so I'm just gonna use this build once, okay? I just want to try something new. Empathy, empathic connection. What perk looks like magic in game? I guess mirror delusion is literally magic. Overzealous. Repressed alliance. Small game. I guess these are the only perks that actually look like magic in game. Or at least the only perks that I have that look like magic. Oh god. Let me change my outfit so that I don't look like I'm gonna be targeted for a hate crime. I was so excited. It's actually kind of sad. I saw that news on social media. The German sports commentator, or whatever his job was, he got beaten up at his own house by three men. It was like days or weeks after he proposed to his boyfriend at a stadium. Like, that is so... holy shit, that was so crazy. Was that even in America? I don't know. Oh my god, it's so sad. No, it's not in America, I don't think so. It's a different place altogether. It's so sad. It's just so sad. God damn. Been seeing a lot of hate crimes lately. In the big 2026, really, they're gonna be. You wanna die on that hill of being the asshole that everyone hates just because you don't see two people be actual boyfriends. So sad. So sad. No, not this item, bitch. God damn. I almost chose that one. Baby. La, 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 la. Mirrored illusion is also once per match. Gagged. Trash perks. Holy shit. Baby. My love, my lover. Getting down and out. Baby. Oh, and the reason why I actually stayed up is for the shrine. I need to see the shrine of secrets. Let me check Repressed Alliance. They actually nerfed it, right? After repairing generators, after which deactivates. Really? It really deactivates that quick. That is so sad, sad. So Repressed Alliance really is just useless, huh? Yes, there, totem here. Uh-oh. Damn. Here it is. Sadly, I don't have Shadow Step. Life would have been much better if I had Shadow Step. Where is that weirdo? Maybe. Oh! He kicked it. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Oh my. Lanta. Oh my. I still get skill checks for potential energy. Oh my god. Anyway. Where the... Anyway, uh, oh, baby, well, getting down with another. What is this little man? What is it gonna have? Oh, baby, he must need me, baby. How my heart yearns for him. Is he far away? Is he okay? This man is husband. Help me, help me. I need your time, baby. That's my Wishing him so long to find. Woo! Woo, bitch. But it's this beautiful man. What a singing song. Oh, baby. Why does my lover? Baby. Okay. Obviously, if I'm doing Gag of the Hardness, then this is Gag of the Hardness. It's the real gag. Okay, where is it? Fine, whatever. Baby, where the hell's my husband? What is it so long to find me? Oh, baby, where the hell's my lover? Getting down with another. To find me, oh baby, where the hell is my husband? What is he in so long? And then I'll try again a modified version of my unhook build. Kindred, open-handed, babysitter, borrowed time, period. I don't really have to bring a map whenever I have a balloon build, because most of the time, I think I've quite memorized the spots where the totems spawn except for the cornfield. And where else? Except for the cornfield and what's the other map? I forgot. Baby, what if it's so long? Me, oh, baby. My timeline is full of this. Oh my god. Hurling thing in the Olympics. It's kinda crazy, you know? It's kinda funny when they bring out the measuring stick, whatever that's called, to determine which of the balls, which of the stones are the nearest to the center. There's a beautiful man waiting for me at all. No. Baby, where the hell is my husband? What is taking him so long to find me? Oh, baby. What is this beautiful man waiting for me to get all done? Baby. Oh. Oh, not this killer. What a stinker. Oh, I hate this killer. Please. No more of this bitch. I don't like her. I don't want her. I don't like her. Distract her. People. Oh, I cannot. I have to come back to that though. Stop it. Ooh, bitch. I will destroy that fucking... I will destroy your hex totem. And I will consider that a victory. Because guess what? At the start... At the start of 2026, I think I won 0 games against this bitch. 0. Nope. I did not win. I just don't know how to play against her. It's so annoying. I just have no idea. And it's so annoying that none of my none of my aura hiding perks would be effective against her. Not shadow step, not distortion, not not anything. Ooh! I almost fucked that up. It just doesn't work. I have to look for her totem because it would bring me great joy and happiness to rock her shit. There it is. Please, please, please destroy her disgusting totems. Girl. Bitch. Fuck you. Baby. Well, I'm so long. Shouldn't there be a cooldown for shit ass horror reading bullshit? So annoying. It just is. It's just so fucking insufferable. Baby, oh, person. I would like a ring, I would like a ring, I would like a ring, I would like a shiny diamond. Really? You brought her to me? Really, bitch? Really? Really? God damn! That pissed me off. That pissed me off so bad. TBH. the fuck out of my way. I'm not doing this shit with you, bruh. Get the fuck away from me. Where the fuck is that bitch's stupid hex totem? Shut the fuck up. Why are you still chasing me? Ah, get alive, motherfucker. Fuck you, whore. My fucking god. Oh my god. Good for you, you know how. Na, 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 na. Resilience against this bitch. Calm spirit against doctor. Rebels bitch. Plotters against annoying ass bitches. Okay. Oh wait, Shrine of Secrets. Holy shit, that sucks. That trash. Trash shrine. Holy. Ah, trash Shrine of Secrets. That is so depressing. Fucking online advice is all about do the generators and run against Legion. Fuck that bitch. Oh my god. My mic is not syncing again. Okay. To the 8, huh? Not these boring ass, shitty ass things again. Don't they have anything else? They're just so fucking boring, like... God damn, don't they that... They're so uninspiring. These game devs are so... whatever. They're not putting out anything new. Give us something inspiring to do. Holy shit. Shit. God damn. I don't wanna play 2v8. Not in the mood, bruh. Fine, let's play one game. 2v8. For you, da, 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 da. Oh god. Oh, David. David, David. Damn. Anyway. I'm done. I have to sleep. Bye bye. Au revoir. Arrivederci.